Not every creak in the floor or shadow in the hallway can be explained away. Some stories chill you to your core, not because they're made up, but because the people who lived through them swear they're real. Tonight we're diving into 5 real-life ghost encounters, shared by everyday people on social media. These aren't horror movie scripts, these are their experiences. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and whatever you do, don't look behind you. Our first story takes us to the quiet suburbs of Ohio, where a Reddit user, Ohio Outback, shared a chilling encounter after moving into a new home. Late at night, while unpacking, he glimpsed a young boy at the edge of the hallway. The boy wore old-fashioned white clothes, standing unnaturally still. Expecting a trick of the light, he blinked, but the boy remained, staring. Then, in an instant, the boy vanished. Shaken, he asked a neighbor about the house's history. The neighbor whispered, "That sounds like little Timmy," and recounted a tragedy from 50 years ago. A boy drowned in the nearby river, wearing those same clothes. Rumors of Timmy's ghost had haunted the area ever since. The witness never saw the boy again, but the encounter left him questioning what truly lingers in the shadows. Some things, it seems, refuse to be forgotten. Our next story comes from Mumbai, where Priya shared her terrifying experience online. At 3:17 a.m., she awoke to a suffocating sense of dread. A soft scratching at her front door made her heart race. Peering through the peephole, she saw a tall, shadowy figure, faceless, with only a void where features should be. The figure reached for the doorknob. Priya stumbled back, breathless. Silence fell. When she looked again, the hallway was empty. Reviewing her security footage, she saw the faceless figure briefly materialize, the image distorted as if reality itself was bending. The next morning, a strange, burnt odor lingered in the hallway. No explanation, no source. Priya was left haunted, unable to shake the memory of the faceless man. Was it a nightmare, or something far more sinister? The footage remains, a chilling reminder that some things defy explanation. Sometimes the unknown is closer than we think, and sometimes it's watching. Across the quiet towns and rolling hills of the UK, there are stories that slip through the cracks of everyday life, stories that begin in the most ordinary of places. For Sarah, it all started with whispers from her wardrobe. At first, they were barely audible, soft, sinister, almost like the wind, but unmistakably calling her name in the dead of night. She tried to convince herself it was just her imagination, a trick of the mind after reading too many ghost stories. But soon, the evidence became impossible to ignore. Clothes would shift and sway on their own, hangers clinking together as if touched by invisible hands. The air around the wardrobe grew colder, heavy with a presence she couldn't explain. One night, as the moonlight spilled across her bedroom floor, a raspy, chilling voice whispered her name, clear and deliberate, from the darkness within the wardrobe. Terror seized her, and she bolted from her room, heart pounding, desperate to escape whatever lurked behind those doors. Her parents, skeptical but concerned, decided to investigate. Her father set up a voice recorder by the wardrobe, hoping to catch the source of the strange happenings and put Sarah's mind at ease. Hours passed in tense silence. Then, in the middle of the night, a piercing scream shattered the calm, echoing from Sarah's room and sending chills through the entire house. The next morning, they played back the recording. What they heard was more terrifying than they could have imagined. A guttural, inhuman voice whispering Sarah's name, followed by the unmistakable sound of her scream. The evidence was undeniable. Desperate for answers, the family called in a local priest. He arrived with holy water and a heavy cross, his face grave as he entered Sarah's room. After a tense examination, he declared the wardrobe to be a spiritual gateway, an entry point for something not of this world. The priest explained that something dark and ancient had attached itself to the wardrobe, feeding on fear and growing stronger with every passing night. He warned the family that it was not safe to keep it in their home. With heavy hearts, the family decided to get rid of the wardrobe. They loaded it into their car and drove it far from their home, abandoning it in a distant, mist-shrouded field where no one would find it easily. After that night, the whispers stopped. The cold, oppressive feeling in Sarah's room lifted and her nightmares slowly faded away. The family finally felt safe again. Their home returned to peace. But the memory of those nights lingered, a silent warning that some doors are better left unopened, and some secrets are best left undisturbed. Sometimes the things we keep hidden, our fears, our secrets, are the very things that haunt us the most, refusing to be ignored until we finally confront them. And sometimes letting go, no matter how difficult, is the only way to find peace and reclaim your life from the shadows. The wardrobe still stands somewhere out there, alone in the fog, waiting for the next curious soul to open its doors and awaken what sleeps inside. Would you dare open it? Or would you heed the warning and leave the past undisturbed? On a lonely, winding highway deep in rural India, truck driver Arun was making his usual late-night delivery. The road stretched endlessly ahead, flanked by fields and the occasional flicker of distant lanterns. The only sounds were the hum of his engine and the rhythmic thud of tires on cracked asphalt. It was a night like any other, until something happened that would haunt him forever. As Arun approached a centuries-old graveyard, shrouded in mist and shadow, his headlights caught a glimpse of a woman in a white sari standing utterly still by the roadside. She seemed almost ethereal, her figure illuminated by the moonlight, her presence both sorrowful and unsettling. Despite a chill running down his spine, Arun's sense of duty and compassion took over. He slowed down, rolled down his window, and hesitantly offered her a ride, wondering why anyone would be out here alone at this hour. Without uttering a single word, the woman climbed into the passenger seat. Her face was completely hidden by a curtain of long dark hair, and she kept her head bowed, never meeting Arun's gaze. The air in the cab grew noticeably colder, and an uneasy silence settled between them. Arun tried to make conversation, asking where she was headed, but she remained silent. No matter how he glanced over, he couldn't catch a glimpse of her face. Only that chilling, unnatural quiet filled the space, making every mile feel longer. As they neared the next small town, Arun's unease grew unbearable. He decided to pull over beneath a flickering streetlight, intending to let her out where she might find help or shelter. But when he turned to speak to her, the passenger seat was completely empty. The door hadn't opened, and there was no sign of anyone leaving. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Heart-pounding, Arun grabbed his flashlight and searched the roadside, calling out into the darkness. There was no trace of the woman, no footprints, no movement, nothing but the whisper of the wind through the grass. Returning to his truck, Arun noticed the passenger seat was strangely damp, as if someone had been sitting there in wet clothes. A faint, haunting scent of roses lingered in the air, mixing with the musty smell of the old cab. Days later, still shaken, Arun heard a story from a local tea stall. Years ago, a young woman in a white sari had died tragically in an accident on that very stretch of road. Her body was never recovered, and some say her soul still seeks a way home. Locals whisper that her spirit wanders the highway at night, appearing to travelers in need of company, or perhaps searching for someone to help her find peace. Many have reported similar encounters, each story eerily alike. Arun never forgot that night, the chilling silence, the vanishing passenger, and the lingering scent of roses. He often wonders if some passengers are never truly gone, their stories forever entwined with the lonely roads they haunt. Even today, that stretch of highway is avoided by many after dark. The graveyard stands as a silent witness, and the road remains haunted, a place where the past refuses to rest, and the boundary between the living and the dead grows thin. So, if you ever find yourself driving alone on a deserted road and see a stranger waiting in the shadows, would you stop? Remember, some rides never truly end. They linger, echoing through the night, waiting for the next traveler to pass by. Antique collector Edward was always searching for rare treasures, but one fateful afternoon at a crowded flea market, he found more than he bargained for. Among the cluttered tables and forgotten relics, his eyes landed on a porcelain doll, its face cracked with age, its dress faded and torn. Something about it drew him in, a strange pull he couldn't explain. The doll's painted eyes seemed to follow him wherever he moved, its glassy stare unblinking, its smile frozen and unsettling. Even in the bustling market, Edward felt a chill run down his spine, as if the doll was watching, waiting. After bringing it home, strange things began to happen. Edward noticed the doll's head turning ever so slightly, its limbs shifting positions on the shelf when no one was looking. At first, he thought it was his imagination, tricks of the light or drafts in the old house. He dismissed these oddities, until one night as he passed the display room he heard a soft, childlike giggle echoing from the darkness. The sound was faint, but unmistakable, sending a shiver through him. One night he found the doll no longer on its shelf but sitting in the center of the room illuminated by a single overhead light. Its grin seemed wider, more grotesque, and then, to his horror, it began to laugh, a high-pitched, unnatural sound that filled the room. Desperate to prove he wasn't losing his mind, Edward grabbed his camera and filmed the scene. The footage captured the doll's eerie movements, its head turning, limbs twitching, and the chilling laughter echoing in the background. Terrified, Edward tried to rid himself of the doll. He brought it to antique shops, hoping someone would take it off his hands, but every shopkeeper recoiled, refusing to even touch it. The doll's reputation seemed to precede it, as if others sensed its dark presence. Even museums, usually eager for rare finds, refused to accept the doll. Curators shook their heads, uneasy, insisting that some objects were better left alone. The doll sat unwanted, its smile never faded. With nowhere else to turn, Edward drove to a remote, overgrown field at dusk. He left the doll lying in the tall grass, hoping the isolation would end its haunting. As he walked away, he felt the weight lift, if only for a moment. Edward never saw the doll again, but the experience haunted him. At night, as he lay in bed, he sometimes heard faint laughter drifting through his dreams, a reminder that some things cannot be easily forgotten. Some objects carry more than memories, they carry curses, lingering in the shadows, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to bring them home. Would you dare bring such a doll into your home, knowing its history? Would you risk the laughter echoing through your own halls? Edward's story is a warning to all collectors and curious souls. Some antiques are better left untouched, their secrets buried with the past. Somewhere the doll waits, patient and silent for its next owner to find it, to awaken its laughter once more. Listen closely. Do you hear it laughing? Or is it just your imagination, waiting to be haunted? Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these stories come from people with nothing to gain by sharing them. Have you ever had a paranormal encounter? Share your story in the comments. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, like, share and subscribe. Until next time, sleep tight.